Transformation projects begin to fail when teams stop aligning, decisions slow down, and businesses lose clarity on what they are actually trying to achieve. Today we speak with Mridul Baberwal, CFO of Investbank, a banking leader with more than 2 decades of experience across financial institutions like Barclays, Deutsche Bank, Standard Chartered, Rag Bank, and now Investbank. If you're leading growth or change inside your organization, Mridul's insight on leadership, transformation, AI, and team building will make you rethink the role finance leadership plays in shaping the future of business. Mridul was very kind and open in sharing his experience with us. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did.
Hi, Mridul, and welcome to the podcast. And congratulations on being selected as one of the top CFOs to follow in the UAE. And we are really happy to have you.
Thank you, Mr. It was likewise actually great to connect, and thank you for having me here.
So Mridul, we've done some research on your profile, on your experience, and you spent over 2 decades in banking across institutions, geographies, and different stages of growth. So, but when I look at your profile, what stands out is that you haven't just operated finance functions; you've kind of built them, right? So we would generally start with your journey. We would generally ask the question, talk to us about your journey. But what I want to ask you instead is, when you think back, what are the experiences that fundamentally shaped how you operate as a CFO today?
So, Nishal, an interesting question. Actually, there is a lot that has happened, through these 2 decades that I've been in banking. While I would like to, do cherry pick certain instances and talk about them, it would probably be unfair of me not, considering certain experiences that have shaped you, right? So I would rather talk through the entire journey. Started my career with HDFC Bank, as a finance trainee, and probably that is where I learned banking. That is where I grounded into the finance industry, understood what it is, and what it means to be in a bank, and that probably was the stepping stone. And that gave me a very good exposure into various elements of banking right at the start of the career, right? So, and I'm talking about, getting shaped by the stalwarts like Aditya Puri, Shashi Jagdishan, who's now the CEO for HDFC Bank. He used to be the head of finance at that time, and I used to work for him. Vinod Yanamadi used to be the CFO, and so I started my career there, and it was a practice in HDFC Bank that every single hire within finance, no matter at what level, was expected to be interviewed by Vinod Yanamadi, who was the CFO for HDFC Bank at that time. And not a single hire in finance would be onboarded unless Vinod has interviewed them himself, right? And starting from there on, you learn banking, you understand the complex, landscape that a bank operates in, and how does it really play part as an infrastructural, pillar for an economy. And that's where I really started, and probably I was there not for a very long time, but I did learn a lot about banking there. Post which I had the opportunity of being a part of Deutsche Bank. I was a part of setting up Deutsche Bank in India. I was their first retail banking business area controller, who was hired for Deutsche Bank retail. In fact, when I joined the bank, the only thing that the bank probably had was a report from McKinsey stating that it was good to do retail banking in India. And the expectation back then was that in 2009, probably the economy will open up, and foreign banks will get a fair share of that growth, and which is where these banks wanted to come and participate in the growth story of India. So I was fortunate enough to have got the opportunity to really play a building block role when it came to setting up Deutsche Bank in India. It was from having no bank to actually establishing a bank, setting up, probably I think if I recollect now, 5 branches, setting up their core banking system. Before setting it up, actually, picking up the core banking system that you wanted to operate with, getting the backend parameterization done, and that experience per se was career defining in that sense. Because it went from the stage wherein we were actually deciding how many digits should a customer account number have, what does each of those digits really stand for, what does it mean from our reporting standpoint, what does a chart of account look like, what does the GL structure look like, how do we interface the finance structure in India with the global systems that Deutsche Bank operated with. So that gave me a complete ground up view of how a bank really operates, right? So it was not something wherein you come in and execute on processes. It was actually defining those processes, what those processes would look like, why they would be.
You weren't inheriting systems, you're building them actually in a way.
You're building them, and not just systems, actually systems, processes. Day in, day out, what would really each of the functions do and how? What does it mean for the customer? How do we contribute towards that journey? And that was a career-defining, experience that I had. And in fact, I was having a conversation with Sashi back then. When I joined Deutsche Bank, coming out of an Indian local bank, moving into a foreign entity, and the culture is very different. And then you do tend to believe whether, or you tend to question yourself whether you settle in, not settle in. There was that phase when I actually went back to Sashi and I was like, Sashi, I'm not really finding this as interesting as HDFC Bank was. And I remember his advice, and Sashi was very, very kind at that time, and he said that Mridul, you will get multiple opportunities in life to be a part of bank that is up and running in your running processes, but it's only once in a lifetime that you will get a chance to set things up, right? And that too for a multinational bank, and that's something that probably you should grab with both your hands and go for it. And in case there is something that goes wrong, we are here, right? And that gave a lot of confidence, and of course, and I never looked back from then. Post Deutsche Bank, I got to probably Deutsche Bank was mainly practice. I got to perfect myself with Barclays. I was a part of setting up Barclays in India. Again, Deutsche Bank was more retail banking. So the way it started is HDFC Bank was retail assets, Deutsche Bank was retail banking, Barclays was retail and commercial banking. So I kept widening my exposure and horizon as I moved through this career journey. Coming to Barclays, it was re-establishing, resetting it up. So in Deutsche Bank, it was more Finacle that we were operating on. When it came to Barclays, it was FlexCube. So I got to play with the backends and the setup of probably the key core banking systems that existed at probably that point in time, and got to set them up, see it ground up for two of those multinational national banks. Post Barclays India, I was moved to the region. With Barclays, I came to the region in emerging markets. We were looking at 14 geographies in emerging markets. Then there was restructuring in Barclays, and we created something known as Barclays Africa. I was a part of setting up Barclays Africa. Was a part of transitioning the entire regional office from Dubai to Johannesburg. There was a phase when I was shuttling between Dubai and Joburg every 15 days. So 15 days in Dubai, 15 days in Joburg for probably about 3 to 5 months, just to get the Joburg regional office.
By then your base was in UAE? Was that how it was?
Yes. So when I moved to the regional role with Barclays, it was in UAE, and I had moved here, and I was operating out of Dubai then. Once the Africa setup was done, the question that came about was, now where do I want to operate from, right? So emerging markets at that time was looking at 14 geographies. Barclays Africa was 18 geographies based out of Johannesburg, and that was the time when it was a question for me to make a choice. The option on the table was either I move to London and start looking at Europe, for Barclays, or I moved to Johannesburg and look at Africa. Either which ways, I think the better half was the decision maker, and she chose to stay back in Dubai. She was like, you can be wherever in the world you wish to, but I would prefer staying in Dubai. So we as a family decided it's better to stick around in Dubai, and I moved to Stanchart. I moved to Stanchart, and I was a part of the Stanchart UAE business. I was looking at their business performance management, ALCO. I was their ALCO secretary, managing their balance sheet as well within the UAE. Post which Stanchart underwent a restructuring. I was also I was actually supporting MENAP while I was operating out of Stanchart UAE. I was also supporting MENAP. But when the restructuring happened, we were making the region as Africa and Middle East, and which is when there was a need for us to dip into the pool of talent available who had Africa experience. And given my past with Barclays, I was picked into the AME office and was asked to set that up. So I was a part of setting up the Africa Middle East office. That probably encompassed about 22 odd geographies that we were looking at, based out of the regional office for Stanchart. That was Stanchart, and then from Stanchart I moved to Noor. So through the journey, if you see till now, the common thread has been setting up things. Ground up, establishing new platforms, establishing new offices, getting something set up from there being nothing. And during Stanchart, I had a brief entrepreneurial phase as well. So while I was, of course, with due approvals from Stanchart, I was also a part of setting up, or I should say, I was the pioneer of getting delivery services, your C2C that you see, your B2C that you see right now, in terms of delivery bikes. That was something that I had set up back in 2015, and that was a business I had set up in Dubai. I had kicked that off as a pioneer. I got that running for about 2.5 years on the side of my desk. So what you see of Talabat today, or what you see of the Zomatos today, was something that was set up back in 2015 by me, and it was very interesting because that journey, gave me the my entrepreneurial side a big boost. I got to connect with a lot of people. Kareem, wanted to do an acqui-hire of the setup that we had, and lots of experience that came together while I was setting that up. And it was all, as I said, it was tech driven. It was, the entire backend was set up by me. I had a tech, unit sitting in India, operating out of Jaipur, while I was operating at Stanchart. So that was my day job. Evening, it was along with my wife. We were managing the delivery business. We were doing about 800, 900 deliveries a day. It was getting managed. We had about 65 odd delivery boys, about 45 odd restaurants. In addition to that, we were doing non-food delivery. So exactly the platform that you see of what Talabat, etc., did in 2020 and onwards, which was basically the COVID era, is something that was pioneered and set up by me in those days. And post Stanchart, I moved to Noor, and that was again at the time.
I'm just going to ask you one question here, Mridul. I was a little curious too. So what happened to the
there was certain. Okay, so as you would realize that the delivery business was more of a capital-intensive business, and it was known fact even at that time. So there were certain challenges that the business was going through. The initial phase was very good. The business had broken even, but for that there were certain partner-related issues that came in, financial elements that came about, and then we decided to not move ahead. Kareem, in fact, at that point in time, wanted to acquire the business. Kareem Box was a offshoot of the platform that we had, and that was the time when I had actually worked with both Magnus and Mudassir, who are basically the founders of Kareem, to help them shape their entry strategy for 6 markets, 6 geographies. So it was something that I sat with them to design and do it to them. was something that really helped me learn a lot as an individual, as a professional, helped me build myself from a personality standpoint. Then I moved to Noor. Again, Noor was a very interesting proposition. The bank was looking at getting listed. It was not doing very well. There was a need for it to get restructured, revive itself from its past. Probably I was there for about 18, 19 months, not too long. But in those 18, 19 months, we were able to transform Noor. The entire valuation of Noor Bank had gone up by 2.5 times. During that phase, and post which I did the sell side due diligence for DIB, post which DIB took over, and I was very clear I didn't want to be a part of an acquired bank. Plus I moved to RAC Bank, and then I was a part of transforming RAC. From when I joined RAC Bank, the balance sheet stood at around 50-55 billion. From there, in a short span of time, taking that balance sheet to about 87 billion. Something that was an interesting journey for me as well. Again, all to do with transformation, changes, redefining what the bank was, and setting up its renewed mission, renewed vision, redoing or recreating or rediscovering what the bank really meant, what the core DNA was, what did we want to grow, explore, and build on. So that was a fairly interesting journey. Post RAC, I'm now with Investbank, or INB, as we now like to call it. Again, this is more of a transformational journey, and we had its fair share of struggle, and this is where I come in to make the change. So for the last 7-8 years, the bank was not making any money; it was in fact making losses. This 2025 was the first year that the bank turned around. We were able to deliver a strong set of financial results, and of course, the credit goes to the entire team. But yes, I did play my part in that transformational journey, redefining who we really are, what do we really stand for, and re-establishing the culture and making it a place which is very different to what it used to be. So that's been the entire journey. What have been in this entire 2 decades that have gone by, what has redefined, or what are those pinnacle moments wherein I have reshaped myself? I would say probably every single day. Right? It was always a very exciting journey. Every day is a new day. You get to learn so many new things every time you walk into the office. Different challenges. I love operating in challenging environments. I love taking up things which are either broken or not being done as well as it could, and reshaping the whole thing up. And that's something that probably got ingrained into me pretty early in my career, both through HDFC and Deutsche, and that probably continued to stay on.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. So let me zoom in a bit into something a little more financial angle part of it. So you worked across different banking environments, like some are stable, some have been evolving. So what have those environments taught you about what actually drives financial performance?
So again, a lot of people look at finance as a function rather than a partner. Right? So finance for me throughout the journey has always been a partner that plays a very, very important role in the strategic direction of any organization. Right. Now, it remains the spinal cord on which you entirely rely. Right. So, if you say that, okay, what has been the role of finance? I would say the role of finance largely is to shape the entire organization, to shape the strategy, to ensure that financially the organizations are well equipped with the right tools, the right resources, and to ensure that you are set for the future. And that's something that because you understand numbers, you understand business, you understand strategy, being at the core, and you are the central nerve of everything that connects the entire organization. So it becomes very important for finance to really play that part and not operate as a function that is there to support business. In fact, you are the co-pilot of where the organizations head.
I think the next question was kind of based on that, because it's very interesting. You said that finance is not a function but a partner and a co-pilot. So was there a point where you realized finance couldn't just report performance? I mean, I know it's like kind of, you've already spoken about it, but the second half of it is you realize finance wouldn't just report performance but also actively influenced it. The second part is what triggered that shift?
So there was never a shift. Okay, interestingly for me, there was never a shift. I always operated in that environment.
Okay.
So if I have to share, HDFC Bank in those days used to operate a finance function which was fairly different to probably other banks, and I would not know how much the other banks were aligned to the way HDFC Bank would operate, because Aditya Puri, who was the CEO at that point in time, had a different way of cutting out budgets, right? So we would have multiple budgets reaching Aditya Puri. First set of financials would come through, or the targets would come through business. And then finance would be required to draw up their independent set of budgets. And which basically meant we were almost in the driving seat with the business. There were times when I had to go to auto dealers to get the subvention rates, to figure out what's happening in the competition, what rates are getting offered by the other competitors. And those are kind of things that, really shaped me in my earlier part of the career. And it was not just businesses coming and telling you, okay, this is how things will be done. It was more finance telling them that this is how we should do it, because we know how it is done. We've explored the market, we've worked through it. This is the number that we believe as a bank we can deliver. And that challenge session became very interesting, right? So in fact, I remember a conversation in which one of the business heads, I wouldn't name the gentleman, stated that, guys, we know how to sell. You're not the one who will tell us. And Vinod Inamari was in the conversation. He was CFO for HDFC Bank then, and he said, Mr. So-and-so, you're right, you know how to sell, but I'm the one who will tell you what to sell, right? Because I know what to make the money for the bank. And that's been the way I was shaped. And probably I never saw the shift since, because that is how I have always learned banking.
Such a conversation where a CFO says that this is what you're going to sell. Do you think it's something specific to banking, or do you think that you would say
No,
is...
I really don't think so. Because see, again, what really happens is, being at the nerve center of any organization, every bit that is moving, right?
Sure.
Be it on the cost front, be it on the provisioning front, be it on the revenue front. If you talk about a manufacturing industry, be it on the production side, be it on the inventory side, it's not necessary that all your sales teams, all your businesses have the entire 360 view. And given you are sitting at the nerve center and you get the entire 360 view, it almost becomes your core responsibility to showcase and throw the light on what you are aware of and ensure that you are able to guide the organization alongside the CEO and shape it in the right way.
So everyone talks about, just going a little more in a different direction now, everyone talks about improving financial performance. In reality, where does it actually break inside an organization?
So when you say improving financial performance and where does it really break, my personal view is where people miss out on connecting the dots. Right? If you get the dots connected and if you are able to align the organization to a singular motive, singular goal, singular vision, ensure that the alignment is such that everybody understands what the outcome is expected and are working on that front. It's like I can sit in the nerve center and say, okay, I'm willing to close my eyes on everything that you guys are spending on, right? Expenses, I can turn a blind eye to the expenses. But if I do that, what does it mean to the bottom line? And there would be instances wherein certain set of businesses would come up with, recommendations that they would like to spend money on X, Y, and Z. Now, what kind of return does it bring in? Does it align to the overall objective or the direction? Does it align to the strategy? If I say want to go north and the spends are taking me south, do I really want to spend a single penny on that, even if the returns are very good, right? So those are the kind of conversations that happen almost every day. And if we are not able to get the view across or get the organization aligned to those views, that is where probably it becomes slightly more challenging, right? Because then your job is very difficult.
So alignment is one of the core reasons.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying. And would you be able to, I'm sure you don't want to divulge details, but would you be able to give some kind of an example about it, like in your experience, like how it kind of, not necessarily a before after, but kind of a,
So there could be multiple, instances that happen in every organization, right? So if say there is, the build versus buy, let's put it as simple as that. There could be a build versus buy, lease versus buy. Those are the kind of conversations wherein probably you have to really understand the stage of evolution that your organization is on, and what is the most important factor at that point in time. So it's like, say I'm in an organization wherein ensuring that the pace of revenue is very quick in terms of how quickly I'm able to ensure my top line starts growing. Now, in that kind of a organization, if I am going for a solution which is a build solution and which will take me forever to build, competition will get over me and I'll be nowhere. Right? So even if I have to spend that extra buck, but make sure that I'm able to beat the competition in terms of my time to market, that itself is a good spend to have. Now, those are the kind of things that probably a finance guy, wearing his finance hat, along with knowing the strategic direction of the organization, knowing where the organization is currently sitting on its financial health, is able to take those judgments and then probably advise and guide the organizations accordingly. So, it's a combination of what resources you have, what tools you have, what your goal is, how quickly you want to get to the goal, and what does it mean for the future, right? So there are a lot of factors that come in. I recollect a conversation, slightly, probably you may not want to keep it as a part of the recording, but I'll let you know it nonetheless. It was a conversation that was happening. I wouldn't name the organization.
Please do.
Which, the CEO was trying to push for something to get done very, very quickly, right? And one of the gentlemen in the room, who was under pressure, came back and stated, and it was a very hilarious moment because it happened so quickly, and none of us expected it at the time. So he said, Mr. X, you give me 9 months and 1 wife, and I will deliver. Give me 9 wives and 1 month, nothing will happen. So no matter how much money you throw at me, if I need time to do something, I need that kind of resource, right? So if I don't have the tool, if I don't have the resource that is actually required for where I want to be and for what I want to achieve, there is no point trying to spend the money on it.
Great example. So in banking, generally growth risk and regulations are constantly in tension. So where do you see organizations getting this balance wrong?
So see, again, now what really happens is timeliness and accuracy. It's a combination, right? So it's more about ensuring that you are having a balanced view at all points in time. It's very easy to, at the spur of the moment, to lean into one thing and lose out on the sight of the future, right? So at the spur of the moment, people would like to go ahead, do something very quickly because the market is moving, etc., etc. But if you're missing out on what you would otherwise be delivering in the future, it's a combination. It's a thought. I'm not sure if I really answered that question. If you would like to throw that back at me, I would like to try it again, maybe.
It's all right. The question is that growth, risk, and regulations are constantly in tension, especially in the banking environment.
Yeah,
right? So how do you get the
so-
balance right, or how do organizations get it wrong?
So again, growth, risk, and regulation, especially in a regulated entity like a bank.
Exactly.
For us, it's probably more of how do we do business. Right? It's
Exactly.
basically business to do business. Without the regulatory support and without the regulatory compliance, you don't exist as an organization. And that becomes a part of your DNA, that becomes a part of your core on how you look at it. And for any conversation or any situation that you are in, and when you're trying to play this balancing act, and if you are able to put your stakeholders in the center of your decision making, now that stakeholder could be the shareholder, could be your customer, could be your regulator. If you put the stakeholder at the center of everything that you're deciding upon, it makes life much easier, because then you know that what will be the impact of your actions on which stakeholder, right? And of course, customer remains at the center, but then there are other stakeholders that you're playing around with, right? And you're balancing them. And till the time you have that visibility of the fact that these are your stakeholders, that you have to make sure that you are able to drive value for, you will probably get the balance right. So it's like if an organization leans more towards the customer and forgets the regulator, you're calling for trouble.
Makes sense. So we often hear about single versions of truth, but in practice, I'm guessing it's messy. So where does this alignment usually break? Is it data? Is it systems? Is it people? I'm guessing you're going to say it's a mix of both, but
it is a mix. So it's difficult to say, one can operate without the other. It cannot, right? So it's a mix of everything. So for me, the core remains the mindset. Till the time you have the right mindset on how you're approaching anything, you're able to get the people, platform, and process alignment going, right? So I prefer calling it PPP, which is people, process, and platform.
Right.
Starts with the people, because they are the one who will drive anything and everything, right? Of course, there is AI now, there is machine now, etc., but you still need people to work with, right? So people starts at the core, and then followed by the processes that these people will bring in, and then the platforms which will support those processes to ensure that as I said, your stakeholder remains at the center, and you are able to deliver value for your stakeholder.
So, since we're talking about that, a lot of organizations you've experienced that firsthand with financial. You've spoken a lot about transformation. So, a lot of organizations invest heavily in finance transformations, right? Now, from your experience, what actually moves the needle, and what just adds complexity? So again, what really will move the needle is, again, going back to having your stakeholder at the center of anything that you're doing. It's good to have very efficient systems, but that they don't play to the need of my stakeholder. Now, whether that is an internal customer or an external customer is of no value, right? I may be able to do the things very fast, but if it is not to the benefit of my customer, then there is no point doing it fast, right? And I'm probably spending time or investing on areas that I should not be investing. I would rather use those resources elsewhere when I'm able to deliver more value for the customer, be it an internal customer or an external customer. Right? And the minute you start thinking about value that you bring to the table and the value that you add for your stakeholder on any and every decision that you're making, you're able to drive that balance pretty well. So, all right, keeping the customer in the center, so that makes more sense. At the leadership level, there's often conflict in priorities. How do you navigate situations where alignment isn't natural, but decisions still have to be made?
So again,
These are tricky questions. I'm not expecting a very clean answer for it, but yeah.
No, I know, but again, I'll lean back on what I said earlier. It remains the stakeholder that you are servicing, right? Now, I can be a great human, but at the same time, not do my role as a CFO. Right? I can earn the brownie points with a certain set of employees who are probably not aligned to the vision, but at the same time not do my role as a CFO. And at that point in time, I'm probably not being truthful to my stakeholder, the shareholder, right? He's a key stakeholder in the play. And those are the kind of times wherein you have to really question yourself of the role that you play, that of shaping the organization, that of building the culture, that of leading the organization. Now, if there is something that is morally conflicting, at that point in time, I tend to rely more on my principles and morals, right? And when it comes to more of defined processes and defined rules and elements that govern the organization, then there is no two way about it, right? Because there is zero tolerance to anything that's already defined. What you can do as a leader is to ensure that at the time of designing those rules, designing those processes, you've taken your stakeholder again into consideration while doing it, right? And you've built the human element, you've built that element into the framework that you're operating within. That allows you that opportunity to ensure that the moral conflict is probably not hitting you as often.
Let's talk about teams, right? So you built and led teams and in high pressure environments, and you love challenging environments, right? So now what separates teams that truly drive performance from those that just report numbers?
So, okay, now the interesting part is I have a firm belief that you can shape teams. Right? What you generally look for in the people and in the team is more attitude than aptitude. You get the right attitude in through the door, and the skills and the aptitude will come. And the way you build teams, and I've built quite a lot of wonderful teams in the past, and that has largely been through walking the talk, through ensuring that you are taking charge from front and center. You're not someone who's sitting at the back probably making or delivering instructions and hoping for things to happen. You're actually showing the way, right? And you, because having set up processes in the past, having really gone through the drill in my past, it becomes fairly easy for me to really show the way, do it once, showcase it how it is, what is the expectation, work with them, build that team, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. The only thing is, as a leader, probably I choose to invest time where I find the right attitude, and rather than looking for brilliance, I look for the attitude. If you have the right attitude in your or if you have the individuals with the right attitude in your team, you're able to work with that mindset. You are able to get the alignment. You're able to get the effort and the skills that can follow.
I'll buy that one. Here's the one question I'm a little curious about. So, what's a finance decision you would approach very differently today?
Okay, interesting question. What is a finance decision? See, and when you say today, what are the times that we are comparing it with? Right? Are we comparing it to 20 years ago? Are we comparing it to what it was 2 years ago?
Yeah, true. I know. It kind of depends because I'm sure there is a shift at some point, right? You kind of had some shift. So probably what I'm looking for is a shift rather than something which I'm seeing like,
Correct.
okay,
So,
you could see a
correct.
difference.
So I think, see, I believe we operate in an infinite game kind of a scenario, right? The rules keep changing, technologies keep coming up. There's something new that's happening out there all the time. What I would do, I'll give you an example. There are certain things that I like my team to operate through ChatGPT. There was a point in time wherein people would be spending days to write notes. Right now, it's co-pilot. You go in, you put the query, you get your outcome. It's more or less there. You validate, and you're happy to run that. Right now, if I was a traditional finance guy, I would say, "Oh, that's not something that we do. Right? That's not something that we should be working with." But in today's day and age, today's times, I think there are so many such tools that are there at the disposal of yourselves and your teams that you are able to rely on those tools to be able to make you much quicker, much faster, draw more quality out of what you bring in, and it helps. And those are the kind of things that I would look and do differently now, which probably I wouldn't do maybe 5 years ago.
Okay. All right. So now I just want to shift a bit towards compliance. So with the UAE moving towards invoicing now, many see it as a compliance requirement. Now, do you see it as staying there as a compliance requirement or evolving into something that changes financial visibility and control?
No, I think compliance is where it starts. Right. Like you rightly said, it will evolve, it will mature, and it will be something that ends up being a lot of transparency, bringing a lot of transparency across the economy, with open finance coming in, and those elements of those areas that Central Bank is already working on, developing on. Information and data will become the key, and that's something that will be readily available. Right. So today, a lot of organizations thrive on the data that they hold. Right. Soon, this data may not be become, may not be the core driver for your business, because that data might be available to everybody. Once open finance kicks in, people will be able to tap into that information if the customer so allows that, and maybe build and take away the customer from you without you even realizing it.
Makes sense. Now the question is just kind of looking ahead. So, how does the role of a CFO in the financial services evolve from where we are today? I mean, how do you see it evolving? And the second question is, what kind of mindset shift do you think leaders need to make?
So, for me, I have always played a role as a finance leader, driving strategy, driving the organizational, behavior. Probably never played the role of a core, financial controller, CFO role. I have played the role of an evolved CFO. And in patches, and it's true in areas where the technological developments have happened, but then this is patchy, right? And I do believe that finance will end up playing a very core role to how we see everything in the future. Right now, finance probably has the ability to look into the financial future of an organization, right? It becomes easier to probably draw up a vision, but whether that vision would make money or not is probably something that finance is able to help shape and evaluate, and what kind of resources would be available or required for that vision to become reality, and are we able to channelize those resources in time? Are we able to ensure that those resources are at the disposal of the organization at the right time, at the right price, is something that finance will continue to play a part of. Not that it hasn't played a part in the past, it's just that it becomes more and more important as we go into it. as I mentioned earlier, finance has to be the strategic partner of anything and everything that the organization does, and that shaping up is a must. And I think all finance leads need to step into that role if they are not already doing.
Just one a question, what would you advise like a first-time CFO? Would come from you've gone through the entire journey yourself. What would you advise a first-time CFO?
So, see, I don't think there is much of an advice to give every person. And if you're saying it's a first-time CFO, I'm sure you have got the CFO position because you've gone through the grind, right?
Sure.
And it wouldn't be something that just landed on your desk. And if you have gone through the grind, if you've had the experience, there is very little that I can advise on, because each individual has drawn experience from their past, right? For me, the only thing that I probably look at and feel proud of is the journey that I have been on. And the one thing that I've drawn is to be open to change, be aware that change is a part and parcel of life. There was a point in time, and again, I'll share an example. When I used to be in HDFC Bank, and when I had started as a trainee, boss had told me, make a calendar, make a diary. That's how you come, from a student life into corporate life. You're used to following a schedule, you're used to following a diary, and that became my habit. I started with that, right? But when I moved to organizations and when I started playing different roles, I realized that my diary had to be much more flexible than what I used to think about. Right? Earlier it used to be rigid. 9 to 10 I'm going to do this. 10 to 12 I'll be doing this. Right? That rigidity just goes away, because you have to be so dynamic. Every day you reach the organization, especially in the environments that are challenging, that are transforming, that are new, that are getting set up. You have new sets of challenges on your desk. Right? So every day is a new day. Approach it like that, and be open to challenges. It's fun to work with them. It's fun to work with change. I really enjoy change. In fact, I get bogged down or bored if I'm doing the same thing more than a few times over. So I try to do it very differently. If I've done it in the past more than once or twice, I'll try and do it differently now.
Embrace or thrive in change, rather. That would be something you would, from a personal experience. Okay. So just one a personal kind of question, like careers like yours come with intensity and constant decision making, right? And what role has your family played in shaping your journey and sustaining you through it?
So family does play a key role. Like I did mention, briefly.
Your wife, yeah.
In fact, yeah, but even organizations that I chose, right? Between Barclays and Stanchart, it was more of a decision that came from the family perspective, right? UAE, for that matter, happened on account of the family. So it is something that remains front and center for you. Anything and everything that you're doing is for and with the family, and they do sacrifice a lot, because finance generally operates longer hours, and that's the traditional belief, and that continues to be the same, and not because there is not enough tool, but there is so much to do in especially dynamic environments, right? There is so many things that are happening, and if you want to be on top of everything that's happening, you would rather end up spending a little more time in office, and they stand through that. So yes, family does play a very key role in where you are in your career, how you have shaped yourselves up, and they do sacrifice a lot in that sense.
I agree. So we have reached the end of our interview, but we generally do ask some rapid fire questions. I mean, if you're open to it, we would love to. Would you be okay? All right, we'll keep it quick and as short as possible. There are quite a few. I mean, about 15 odd. All right. So one word your team would describe you, and that you secretly agree with.
They would call me a friend rather than a manager.
All right. So one word your CEO would describe you, would use to describe you.
Trustworthy, reliable.
All right. The most overused word in board meetings.
Tricky one. Overused.
Or phrase, or you can say phrase for that matter. It's not a word.
While we agree with you.
Okay. It's a good one.
While you.
All right. So the phrase you've said most as a CFO.
No.
All right. A decision you're known for making quickly.
I think I tend to decide most of the things very quickly. I don't take too long to make decisions.
A task you secretly dislike. I mean, I said finance task, but yeah.
Anything repetitive. Anything that I have a few times over, I don't like doing.
All right. The metric that gets too much attention.
Cost.
Okay. The metric that doesn't get enough attention.
Growth on the revenue side.
All right. The question that you get asked that has no simple answer. I mean, I've already asked you a few like that, but still.
There are quite a few such things. Difficult to put a single question that has no simple answer. It's like, okay, a lot of people come up with question like, okay, what's the strategy of the organization? It's very difficult to explain the strategy. Because strategy is not a single statement. It's not a single page. It's not a single PowerPoint presentation. It's about what you do every single day for the coming 3 years or coming 5 years. Right? So it's very difficult to put that, very shortly. But yeah, we all do try to do that. I do have a strategy on a page. I can talk about the bank strategy on a page and describe it. But would I be doing justice to what I'm really calling a strategy? Maybe.
Okay, I'll take that. A good CFO, you may have answered this, but still, a good CFO is someone who, fill in the blank. I mean, just finish my.
Who? Sorry.
A good CFO is someone who, I mean, I've left it as a fill in the blank for you to answer.
Who knows his organization? Let's put it like that.
All right. And knows his organization in the sense of what they do, the business. Is there something specific?
Everything. Be it their business, be it their product, be it their numbers, be it how they run the business, be it which channel they operate from. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're selling.
Okay, another fill in the blank. I always double check dash.
My PowerPoint presentation before I shoot the send button or press the send button.
Okay, that's something we've heard multiple times in terms of email, generally email, sending before.
Yeah, for me, I generally reopen the attachment while I've completed it. I would reopen it, go through it all over again. Still find something. There'll always be something. You fix that and send it again.
The hardest part of my role is
continuing to remain unbiased.
Okay.
And impartial. Because there are times when you end up being holding a soft corner towards one side of the business. It's something that you enjoy. You have to continue to be impartial.
Every finance team must stop doing X or whatever that X is.
Stop doing. I hate repetitive tasks. We should stop doing repetitive tasks. Make it more creative. Finance is not as boring as we make it out to be.
Interesting. This is about judgment and experience. So the hardest call a CFO has to make.
Salary reductions, pay cuts. And there are times when you have to let go of individuals. Those are the toughest calls, I would say.
One thing a spreadsheet cannot tell you.
It can never tell you the gut feel of the business. It cannot tell you the pulse of the business. Gives you numbers, but the pulse is not something that comes on spreadsheets.
Okay, just a few more. The habit that keeps you effective. Flexible calendar could be one. Please finish.
Not taking stress. Not taking stress. Because there is enough and more that will come your way. Don't get stressed about anything.
I'm not sure if I'm not, but I would like to ask you this. The best advice you received as a CFO, because I asked you what's your advice to another CFO. What best advice you received?
I've received quite a lot. I've been lucky to work with so many CEOs who helped me shape myself. A lot of people have spoken to me on different things. One such advice was, okay, don't be as emotional.
Okay.
That's one thing. Keep your emotions aside when you're looking at the numbers, and because you tend to live and breathe the organization. Right? And when I say I operate at the nerve center of the organization, I really mean it. Right? So anything that happens in the organization, I tend to feel it more personally, and that's where probably a couple of CEOs have told me. It's all right.
Not to take it like that. All right. Just a few more. Something you learned too late. Not sure if you want to answer that. But
something I learned to know. There are a few things I learned too late in life. Just being technically strong is not enough, and probably not the must-have forever. Right? As you grow in the organization, EQ and IQ balance shifts. You have to move as you grow up in the organization. Your EQ factor matters much more than your IQ.
All right, makes sense. So last few set of questions. What energizes you at work?
Challenges. I love them.
All right.
Okay. So every day when I come in, I love my team members walking in. This has happened, and I like providing solutions. I'm like, okay, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And coming up with something different, I enjoy that.
Okay. I'm curious about this one. One myth about CFOs you would like to break.
Okay. The myth that CFOs don't understand business, and they are the ones who understand only the accounting or financial reporting points. It is something that is a myth. And then that myth, I think, has been shifting over the last few years. I wouldn't say the last decade, but at least last 5-6 years. When you read of CFOs that are coming, I can see that shift. People are more attuned to what the business is, are more attuned to how a business is run, and they are looked at as really the core partners to drive the growth.
One of the common answers we've got was we always say no. You want to change that? Although you've said that you do say no a lot. So
I do like saying, because see, again, no is not necessarily something bad. No at times means that you need to relook at it. Look at it, probably there is more that can be scraped out of a particular deal, right? Probably there is something more that we can squeeze out of a particular transaction. And that no really pushes, whether it be business, whether it be your team, whether it be anybody, to think slightly more than what they have already done. And that's where probably different outcomes come to you. So it is difficult for me to say yes on the first go. I challenge myself, I look at it, I convince myself, and I say there must be something that I've not looked at. Let's relook at it. Let's rethink it. Have we not done something, or is there something that we've missed? Maybe we have, right? So let's start with a no and then prove ourselves that no is the wrong answer, right?
All right. The last few. The most underrated skill in finance leadership.
Presentation skills.
Okay. And finally, one sentence that defines your philosophy, CFO philosophy, so to speak.
For me, in a single statement, I've repeated that multiple times over this conversation. You are the co-pilot. You are the partner. You are equally responsible to drive the outcome and the future of the organization, as much as probably the CEO and the business heads.
Right. On that note, Mridul, thank you so much for your time. And so we can conclude now. Thank you so much for your time. That's it.
Thank you, Nishal. Appreciate it.